Good day, everybody. Welcome to Blue Collar Hockey Talk. Thanks for listening. My name's Scott Feeney. We're with Wes Atkinson here. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If you like what you hear today, I want you to like, subscribe, comment, whether it's good or bad. Let's get some conversation happening. Today, in today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit of bad news. We got a passing of a legend in Canadian hockey, an iconic man in Walter Gretzky. We're going to have another coaching change in the North Division. We're going to talk Leafs hockey. We've got our very first guest to talk about not the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Sabres with one of Wes's friends, Dave. And you know what? I'm pretty excited to have him in as a guest today. Wes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks for asking. Yeah, man, it was such a sad day the other day when we all heard about Walter Gretzky, unfortunately passing away at 82. You know, Canada's hockey dad. Wayne Gretzky sent out a tweet. It was right in the middle of that Leafs game. I don't know if you ever had the chance to meet him. I never did, but everyone just knew who he was.
Actually, I was I went for dinner at Gretzky's. My friend worked there, so he got a chance to meet him quite a bit because he was a common presence at the restaurant, you know, and when I was there, actually, it was neat. I mean, I didn't get to meet him for long, but he just came down and he actually just sat down with us, you know, and he just sat down into our booth. I mean, he very much just made his way in, was an extremely pleasant man, was just like, how you guys doing? Where are you from? You know, like, oh, that's great. How's your food? You know, like, who do you cheer for? Oh, good stuff, guys. All right. You know, have a good day, guys. He was off, you know, and I mean, I heard that if you said, hey, man, can I get your autograph? He was more than willing at all times. So I heard great things about the guy, you know, like, and I've heard that from a numerous amount of people.
That's a pretty awesome story, man. That you actually he came and sat down with you, man. I've heard that that's exactly the kind of guy he was. You know, I've been to a bunch of Leaf games and he was there, and man, the whole arena would like stand up and applaud. Like, and that wasn't for Wayne, that was for Walter because he was such a philanthropic guy, and like, you know, would spend time with people like you said, and give his autograph to anyone who wanted it. I heard some neat stories about him, and I didn't know that he would actually film Wayne and his kids practicing on their backyard rink. And like that wasn't easy back in the day, man. Like the camera was this big thing with the actual film reels on it. Like that's commitment.
That is. I mean, look at what came out of it. Obviously, there was like unbelievable commitment from everyone involved, and Walter obviously taught some seriously great things to his son Wayne. Because you know, always see the play two plays ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and that came from Walter Gretzky, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's move on to actually some hockey talk here. Like you said, another coaching change in the North Division, but this time it was Calgary. They let go of Jeff Ward and brought back Daryl Sutter. I did not see this coming, man. I am just shocked that Calgary would do this. Like they just changed coaches 1 year ago.
Okay, I don't roll my eyes at the choice of bringing in Daryl Sutter. I mean, I don't know if his style of hockey suits today's style of hockey, but you know what? It very well could. And I think that he could be a great coach, but that's not really why I roll my eyes. How many bullets does Treliving get? I
Mm-hmm.
was just saying the same thing about Bergevin. Am I missing something? Is I just don't get it. Like, how do you not have a coach? I don't know, man. It's weird. I don't know how you can just have an absolute coaching carousel under one general manager.
Like I do get that the Bill Peters stuff that kind of was out of his hands and they had to let him go, and not necessarily for things that were happening on the ice. It was a whole different thing. But you're absolutely right. Like this is their fifth coach in 5 years, and Calgary is a good team. Like they're not a team that is going through what Edmonton's going through or like what Buffalo's going through. Like they're a good team that have been in the playoffs more often than not, but for some reason they just can't hold on to a coach.
No, and I mean like you just said, there's five coaches in 5 years, so that writes off one out of the five coaches for Treliving. Can you imagine if this were in Toronto?
Oh
Can
no.
you imagine if can you imagine? Like think about Dubas. He started with Babcock, which is a coach he inherited, and then he got to hire his coach. And I think that I'm not foolish to say this. It would be widely speculated that this is his coach. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it works or it doesn't, and this is Dubas. Can you imagine how the fire would spread on under his seat?
Oh yeah, I think it would. This is the whole thing with what's different in Toronto. Like they're at a different stage in Calgary, but like he just doesn't have another bullet, like you said. You know, if Keefe goes, like you would think Dubas is gonna go shortly after. You know, and it's just not. He's not gonna survive 4 more coaches. Dubas, no way.
Oh, that's just what I don't understand. That's what makes me just boggle my mind. Like, all right, I'm pretty surprised. I didn't see Calgary being the team that's going to do it. Like
Hmm.
to think that Vancouver's still sitting with their coach. Like or whatever. Who cares? I'm not going to speculate on anybody else. It's just surprising to see Calgary do it.
I think with Calgary though, like they're surprised that they're this bad out of the gate, right? Like they're one of the teams that I expected to get a playoff spot. I thought Montreal was going to be the one that would be really far back looking up to a playoff spot because there's so much turnover in their team, but Calgary just seemed to have a really good team. And I think this is the thing too. We talked about the North Division as the easiest division in hockey. 6 out of the 7 teams last year were in the playoffs. No other division can say that many of the teams were in the playoffs last year.
Good point. That's a really good point, man. Did you happen to see what the hell happened in that Washington Boston game the other night?
Oh, Tom Wilson, eh? Suspended again?
Just don't get it. Like, and then you have to ask yourself before you even watch the play. Oh, come on, is this actually worthy of a 7-game suspension? There wasn't even a penalty called on the play, or is it a Tom Wilson thing?
I think it's definitely more of a Tom Wilson thing because to me, I watched it. I think he hurt his head more hitting the boards than what Wilson did to him. Like if Wilson hit him in the open ice, he would have gone flying, but he wouldn't have hurt himself as bad as that. They actually asked Ovechkin about that today, and he said the suspension's kind of a joke, and he also added, I think when you play hockey, you have to be ready for that, and you have to know who's on the ice.
Okay, I understand that comment, but I mean that doesn't mean that you can still play like Scott Stevens just because Scott Stevens is on the ice now.
Hmm.
You know, that style of hockey isn't there. I mean, I think that the hit looked a little bit vicious,
Hmm.
um, personally, but I think that the suspension maybe is he's a multiple offender.
Hmm.
This would have been a 1-game suspension for anybody else, um, maybe 2,
Yeah, I
but he got
think
7.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like it's 7 because this is his 5th suspension of his career, so he's not going to get 1 or 2. So I'm not upset about the 7 games. Like it makes sense.
And to be honest with you, I had been saying it before how the league's got to make sure that they keep things in line so they don't have line clearing brawls.
Hmm.
Um, this is just an example of the league doing that. And Wilson is a multiple offender, so he got 7 games. Sorry you have a bad history. Sorry it fell on that,
Hmm.
but you had to do something to that play because you couldn't have that play be something responded to because it wasn't acted upon in the next game because there's going to be 4, maybe 5 more games. You know, the league I think did the right thing by doing something about it.
Yeah, and the way I feel about suspensions is I'd rather have them suspend more games than less, because the more games a guy's suspended for, the less likely someone else is going to do the same thing.
It's like 15% of the season.
Yep. Yeah. That's true,
It's a
eh?
big suspension, really, considering the shortened year.
It absolutely is, and he's a good player, man. He isn't just this, bruiser guy. He's not a fourth line like scrub from back in the day. Like he contributes to that team and he motivates that team, and he's kind of the heartbeat of that team.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we're talking enough about that. You want to talk about a little bit of Leaf talk?
Absolutely, man. Do you want to start with that 3-1 loss after we hyped up the Leafs in
Wait,
our last show? We're
wait,
talking
wait.
about
I forgot all about those games, man. Let's not talk about this. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
Keep going. Just joking.
man. It is so Leafy that we spent like our whole show last time talking about how good they are. We expect them to win, and just pumping tires all around, and then they go out and throw out a dud.
They do. They do. I mean, they just didn't look like they were able to play in that game. They weren't going to win that game. You can't pin it on one guy. We didn't play a good game, top to bottom. Am I wrong to say that? Like, I mean, you're going to hear people say Hutchison let in some weak goals. Well, you scored 1. What the hell did you want to do? Like, you're not going to win anyway. You know,
Yeah,
like
I will
that
say
means you expect a shutout.
Yeah, Demko did play a hell of a game that game. Like that was the best game I've ever seen him play, and I think it was one of the best games he's ever had in his short career. So, they were kind of due for a goalie to take one away from them. And Matthews had three amazing scoring chances and wasn't able to convert on any of them. And like that's hard to believe.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, the, such an emotional series there. Like you could just feel it. Like they really gave it their all against Edmonton, and it's hard to show up every night with that. I mean, you can't win every game, and I mean, I'm not trying to just say brush it off, but I'm kind of saying, I guess I'm just going to brush it off.
Well, that's it, man. I think it's not the longest regular season, but it's still a pretty long season. So you're not going to win every game, and you're not going to have your best game every night. That being said, what did you think of the game on Saturday, the 4-2 loss against Vancouver?
So you see now how I say just brush it off. That means that with that said, I was really hoping for a strong game Saturday night, and it was going well, wasn't it? They came into the third period. What we had a 2-1 lead.
Yep.
It looked really nice. Like I mean, at one point there, Toronto when Nylander took that penalty, and I'm not going to pick on him. I'm not. This isn't a bashing show, so we're not going to do that. I don't think, right? But when push comes to shove, when Nylander took that penalty, we were out shooting them 8-0 in that period.
Yep.
The period turned on a dime. It's unfortunate that it happened, and it's unfortunate that it was Nylander that it happened too. The ice sucked that night, man. The puck was bouncing all over the place.
But hey, Vancouver was skating on the same ice, and it seemed to work out well for them.
They were the benefactor of that bad bounce. That's where the game spun on the head. We flipped it over the boards. He wasn't pressured. I mean, it sucks that happened. I mean, he was just trying to bounce it off the glass. The puck took a little edge. He put it over the boards, and the rest is history. They score on the power play, which, what the hell's going on there?
Well, yeah, that's the thing I was really upset about, man. The Leafs penalty kill is just not good enough, man. They're killing penalties at a 77% clip, and that isn't good enough. Like bottom line, like they need to be better.
It's an important part of the game. I mean, Malholtra's done a great job with the Leafs coming in with the power play. And I mean, even that, the law of averages is kind of bringing that back to earth a little bit. But at the end of the day, we've got a great power play. But that penalty kill's got to step it up a bit because we needed a kill there. They needed a kill there. The game changed on a dime there. You can. I pointed it at Nylander's penalty. Right next door, like it's just like saying the goalie needs to make the save. Well, the penalty killing unit needed to kill a penalty.
Yeah,
it didn't.
Like if they killed that penalty, man, I'm sure that would have sapped the life right out of Vancouver because there weren't penalties being called in that game. There was only 2 against the Leafs called. The one was against Matthews, which was like, how often does that happen? He is not penalized very often at all. Even Nylander throwing that puck over the glass, he doesn't take many penalties. Like these guys aren't parading to the box on a regular basis, and to have them both go into the penalty box in the same game and then have them give up goals, like that just is just awful. Like it's just like it shouldn't happen. Like you shouldn't allow two goals on 2 penalty kills.
No, you shouldn't. And I mean, in all fairness, it wasn't just the penalty kill either. The top line was like they had their chances, okay, sure, but it really wasn't that great of a game for them, was it?
No, you know what? Like
I mean,
Demko...
that drop pass by Marner. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't mean to keep interrupting, and I gave it to you, and then I jumped back in. But like Marner's, like it just, I don't know. It sucks. You're gonna drop some passes. You're gonna make some bad plays. It happens, but it was at bad times, man.
I don't know how you feel about it, but man, when you lose 2 games in a row to the same team, it just feels different than in a regular season when, hey, you're going to lose 2 games in a row, whatever, but it's not against the same team, so it's just a weird like vibe that the team kind of carries with them.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that, man. I hear you on that. I hope that we can bounce back though, because I don't know. I hate seeing games get squandered, man. I hate seeing points get just given away, and I feel like we gave away 2 points there.
You know what though? At least they gave them away to Vancouver. Like Vancouver really isn't threatening the Leafs on like where they're gonna finish in the regular season this year. So as much as it sucks being beaten by a team like that. That's better than giving those points up to, say, like Edmonton or Montreal or any other team that's really fighting for a playoff spot, because like to me Vancouver is kind of done for the season. Like I don't think they're moving on up.
No, I don't think so either. It's a good point. And it probably won't hurt, I guess. It's just don't let skids get too long. That's all. You
Yeah.
know, just
And
don't let them go too long.
I've always kind of had the mindset during a regular season, like don't let a skid go past 4 games, because 4 games is just like a bad week, and that can happen to any team. But like once you get past 4 games, 5 games, 5 is a big number, man, to have a skid. Yeah, in this season, that's like 10% of your season. 5 games.
Yeah, you're gonna squeeze that stick pretty hard, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, you know what, man? That's enough of those Leaf games. We have a special guest today. We talk about how this show is by the fans for the fans. So we're gonna bring in a fan who is a Buffalo Sabres fan. Let's bring in my friend Dave Szpargala. All right, everyone, we have a special treat today. We have our very first guest on the Blue Collar Hockey Talk. We have my friend and coworker Dave Szpargala. He is a unique guy that it happens to be a Buffalo Sabres fan in Toronto. So, Dave, why are you a Sabres fan?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I'm honored to be your first guest. It's a pleasure. So to answer your question, true story, I used to be a Leafs fan until I got fed up. They got rid of Cujo. They got rid of Gary Roberts. They got rid of Joe Newendike. And I had it. I was done. And I thought, oh, I need a new team. And of course, I chose the Rivals, right? But growing up, my favorite player was Max Afinogenov. Loved his speed. Just a great player overall. And yeah, man, I love Dan Briere as well, Tim Connolly, all those guys. So I thought, yeah, Buffalo's going to be my team. And it's nice to have a little bit of rivalry going on with my friends as well, who are Leaf fans, including you.
Yep.
And we can go back and forth as well. But yeah, Sabres, I mean, it's been a tough year, guys. And it's been a tough 10 years overall.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
I mean, sorry there, Wes. I just wanted to say hi to Dave first of all. Hey, buddy. Really nice to have you out here, man. We were talking a bit about the absolute carousel that's going on in coach land and in GM land in Buffalo. And I mean, I get worried when I hear you say something like, you had enough of the Leafs. You got fed up. Well, Buffalo is going through some tough times right now. And I mean, I was hoping, I had a lot of hope for this team, looking on paper, seeing, Taylor Hall betting on himself for a year, going there, saying, I'm going to go play with the likes of Jeff Skinner and Jack Eichel. And, I was really hoping to see the team to make that turn. But what has seemed, and I ask you, how does it feel right now? And how is the Buffalo fan base going to be able to push through this? And how does Buffalo push through this? Where's the light? Where's the light on the other side, man?
Yeah, great question. It's like you said, Taylor Hall takes a chance, signs in the offseason to play with an elite center like Jack Eichel and guys like Sam Reinhart, Victor Olofsson. It just hasn't worked out. I don't know what it is. He's only got 2 goals on the year. He's playing on the second line right now with Eric Stahl and I believe Sam Reinhart, but they flip it with Kyle Opozo and whoever gets another point the game before. So it's just a game of musical chairs on those lines. But I don't know the answer. I don't understand why they aren't scoring. I mean, you look at the goal leaders. Sam Reinhart has 9 goals this year. And then you've got, I think Curtis Lazar is 3rd in team scoring with 4 goals. And he's on the 4th line, right? And then you've got guys like Jeff Skinner who make $9 million a year, can't find the back of the net, hit the post, are playing on the 4th line. I don't understand what is going on as well. It's really very frustrating, and I wish I had an answer to your question, Matt, but I really don't know what the problem is.
So, what do you think they should do? It's so this is one of the reasons why we had you on, wanted to have you on, is because being a Leaf fan right now, it seems the rebuild has worked. Because 5-6 years ago, the Sabres and the Leafs were kind of in the same situation where they're trying to bottom out, collect assets, get high draft picks, and work their way up the standings. But clearly, it just one reason or another, it hasn't worked in Buffalo. So what do you think they should do? Should they strip it down to the wood again and try to build back up, or do you think it's just a few trades? Like,
man, it's not an easy solution. Like the rebuild was working for a little bit. Hey, they drafted Eichel second overall. They got a second overall guy in Reinhardt, first overall in Dahlin. Like the talent is there, but if you're going to rebuild again, what message does that send to the team? Hey, you guys aren't good enough again. And what message does that send to your franchise guy in Jack Eichel? I mean, last year he comes out and says, yeah, I'm not happy. I'm sick of losing. I'm frustrated. Hey, guess what's happening? Deja vu all over again. So if you're going to wipe down the team, trade everybody again, I don't know. And you rush guys like Casey Middlestat last year, who had, 14 points or something like that? It wasn't good. It was not good. It's just they draft high, they throw these guys in there, and they expect them to figure it out. The talent, like I said, the talent is there, but they're just not finishing. I don't know if it's a coaching problem. I do like Ralph Kruger. He's a good coach, and that's one of the main reasons Taylor Hall signed with Buffalo. Buffalo had Ralph Kruger. Taylor Hall had experience with him. He had success with him in Edmonton, and he even said, yeah, I know Ralph Kruger. I like him. That's why I'm signing here. And also I get to play with Eichel. But yeah, when it comes to the rebuild, man, I don't know what you can do. What value do these guys have? I mean, you've got Jack Eichel, who's probably going to get you the most return, right? Sam Reinhart can get you some return. But guys on expiring contracts like Brandon Montour, who they traded a first-round pick for, and Brandon Gooley, is not going to get you much, especially now during the pandemic. I mean, teams are strapped for cash, and they're not going to be willing to give up parts of their future, especially in a shortened season as well, because you never know what's going to happen. Who knows if they're going to be playing hockey next year? So a rebuild, to me, does not seem like an easy solution. And it's just, I really don't know what they can do, man. I have no idea what's going to go on.
See, I kind of relate to it as a Leaf fan. I mean, for years, we went through this as well, right? And I mean, we had a revolving door on a few different coaches coming through with no results, everything post-Pat era. And to see it, when I remember looking back, thinking to myself, what do we need? And I'd look up and down the bench as I'd watch a game, and it would be, well, who the hell's going to stand up and say, guys, like, we got to do this, like, get on my back or whatever, like, to snap you into gear, even with just a look. And the Leafs didn't have it for years. We've got it in place now. And I mean, I think of the Buffalo lineup, and I really only get one name that comes to my mind, and it's Eric Stahl. But I mean, I feel like more chemistry, more character guys, like they've got all these pieces, but how do you get the rest of that puzzle? And how are they expected to do it when, if I heard you guys talking earlier before we recorded here, since 2013, you're on your fourth GM. Teams need a GM needs to have time to actually formulate and see a plan through. Like, think about when Burke goes into a team, it's a 5-year plan. There's always 5-year plans. And you've gone through 4 GMs we're in the 8th season since then. That's hard, man. Like, I don't know what the expectations could be. And every GM is going to have a new coach. So now there's a new system, and it's just a continuous repeat, like, reset button. And I would hate to see a reset button happen again, but like you say, is it coaching? Is like, what the hell would you say? Like, I mean, before Babcock came to Toronto, it was looking like he was going to Buffalo. Do you see any hope in hell on that ever happening again? Because I do.
Oh man, I don't know, Mike Babcock, maybe in a couple years, maybe, but didn't he just sign with like some Saskatchewan team or Saskatoon or something?
As a mentor coach.
As a mentor. Oh, that's
but he is the head coach, but he's there quite clearly, and he said it in an interview. I'm not here to be here for years and years. I'm here to help Saskatchewan. They had like a 20-year veteran coach that retired, and so they didn't have anyone to step right in. So he said, I will groom your coaches just like I have throughout the NHL. And it's his redemption tour. And I mean, where else better to do it than in his hometown? And I mean, he can sales pitch himself, and he's got a credential and a resume to do it. Yes, he's also got some pretty nasty scars to it. But I'm not trying to turn this into a Babcock talk. I'm more or less trying to see, would a Buffalo fan be open to something like that?
Well, I mean, if you look at his resume, yeah, he's won how many cups? 2? I think he won with Detroit twice. I'm not mistaken. So he's got that. I don't know what went on beyond the scenes in Toronto with all the Marner stuff, and I have no idea if any of that's true. I don't know. I don't. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing an experienced coach come in, because you look at the past guys that we've had. I mean, just over the past couple of years, we had Ted Nolan. Yeah, he had success in Buffalo a couple of years. We had, I mean, well, Lindy Rupp was probably the best coach we've ever had.
He was there forever.
Yeah, he was there forever, and he's in New Jersey right now. But then you had Dan Bilesma, who won a cup in Pittsburgh as well. That didn't work out. And who else do we got? We got Ralph Kruger now, and we also had Phil Housley.
Yep.
He didn't last very long either. They seemed to give him like a 3-year deal. Hey, you got 2 years to figure this out, and if not, see ya. They need more time, and I don't know if the players are just giving up on those coaches, but yeah, just to see a guy like, hey, I'm not taking any crap. I need you to perform, or you know what? See you later. And I think that's what Ralph Kruger is trying to do now with Jeff Skinner. Guy makes $9 million a year, like I said, and he was a healthy scratch for the past 3, or not the past 3 games, but he was a healthy scratch for 3 consecutive games, and doesn't have a goal on the season. He's got 1 assist, and I think 19 games they played. But yeah, you need to bring in an experienced coach. Maybe guys like Babcock, Gerard Gallant is another one. Who else is available right now?
Claude Julien's looking for a job right now, man.
Claude Julien, yeah, Julien wouldn't be bad. He knows the division as well, knows the players. Yeah, so I haven't seen the list of coaches that are available, but those 3 stand out to me.
Yeah, well, like it seems to be just something like just in Buffalo right now for the past like decade, right? Well, it's easy to point that out because a decade ago, Terry Bakula bought the team. And as soon as he bought the team, he said, starting today, the Buffalo Sabres' reason for existence will be to win a Stanley Cup. Right? Like, he came out guns blazing. I remember the first year he spent a lot of money signing a lot of guys, and they didn't make the playoffs, obviously. But it seems to be like he is that kind of owner where things aren't working, ship someone out, hire someone new, right? And it's just this turnstile, and it doesn't seem to really be working. Like we were talking about Dan Bilesma and Phil Housley. If my research is right, they coach the exact same number of games.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And Dan Bilesma had 68 wins compared to Phil Housley's 58 wins. And, you know, there was also a rumor going out there that Jack Eichel wasn't too happy with Bilesma. So he said to the team, if he's still the coach, I'm not going to resign. And they took Eichel over Bilesma, of course, at that time. But, man, that just sets a bad precedent of, you know, well, in my opinion, it's easy to be on this high horse of, like, the players control the team.
Right.
And I don't know how you feel about that, of a guy who, like, he hasn't won anything. He hasn't, you know, like, he has his own personal accomplishments, but he still hasn't gotten any team success. Like, how do you feel about, like, that kind of rumor that Eichel seems to be a bit of a coach killer?
You know, I don't want to believe it. I believe the guy wants to win in Buffalo. He said it over and over again. Hey, I'm here. That's why I signed. I think he signed an 8-year deal. He's making $10 million a year. So, yeah, I believe he wants to win. I know he's frustrated. He's come out and said it past couple of seasons. Hey, you know who else said it? Ryan O'Reilly. Guess what happened? They dealt him. Worst return ever. I think we got a first-round pick, Patrick Berglund, who retired 6 games in. Vlad Sobotka, who got hurt again. And Tage Thompson, who, oh, man, this guy, I don't know what's going on with this guy. He's supposed to be a power forward, but it just hasn't worked out right now. But going back to Eichel, coach killer, maybe. I don't really see it, though. Like I said, the guy wants to win. He's trying his best. Last year, he carried the team. They didn't make no playoffs or anything, but he carried that team on his back. And I don't know, man. It's when it comes to coach killing, I hate that term.
Yeah, it's a little tough because like he is clearly the best player on the team, right? And you want him around, but it just seems to be like the culture of that team, and like that's such a sports term, of like, oh, when things aren't working out, the culture is bad in the room, and like we don't know what the hell's going on in the room.
Right.
But it just seems to be like I don't know, he gets up for certain games. Like we've seen him play live a bunch of times in Buffalo, and like he is pumped to play the Leafs, and he brings his A game. But for the other games I see him play, I don't see that fire and intensity.
Right. Well, yeah, no, I see it, man. I see the frustration on his face, on the bench, on the ice. He, like I said, he wants to win, man. He is determined to win, whether that is with Buffalo or another team. This guy wants to win. So,
It just must be frustrating, man. Like, I mean, to be Jack Eichel, I could just imagine. And I mean, like, it's easy enough to say, hey, like, look at how he's carrying himself. Look at how he's seeming. Maybe it's like, because I talk chemistry, I talk character, and it would be easy for me to just sit there from afar and say, hey, that doesn't look right. But holy smokes, like he has been given season after season of mediocrity, and I don't know if there's even hope going into some of the seasons. Do you know, like some there are. I mean, you would speak to that better than myself, but I mean, to say that somebody's a coach killer, it's tough to say that kind of thing, because if I'm not mistaken, Connor McDavid's been through just as many coaches, or somewhere damn near, you know. So it's got to come down to that GM, that coach. How do you implement a system? How do you surround the right group of guys? And it's either you did it or you didn't. And those are two franchises that just are having a real tough time putting all those pieces in place. And I hate to pin it on players, and I won't. Like, it's clear. You look at the stat sheet, you look at how they're carrying themselves. It's not happy to be there. No one should be happy right now. But at the same time, how do you start getting up for the games? Like, how do you want to be there? How does that change? Where's that turn? And I hope it happens soon, man. I really do, because it's so much more fun when we've got a rivalry that is you know, where we could go back and forth, you know, and seriously be rooting each other on. And yeah.
I think a lot of it is toughness as well. These guys come in, I mean, so their game is bringing the puck into the zone. They don't dump and chase. Dump and chase is a huge part of the game. These guys are always carrying the puck into the zone, and teams figure that out. I mean, I was just watching the Islanders game yesterday, and every time it's like 1-on-4. Of course you're going to lose the puck. You can't do that. You have to go in, make a couple passes, let Darlene carry it into the offensive zone. Anything like that. Or dump it in, go get it. But yeah, I don't know what my point was. But yeah, it's just going in, and I don't know what they can do, man. I really don't. I think they're all at a loss right now. Everybody's just trying to figure it out for themselves. And yeah, it's a team game and everything, but just trying to figure it out. Like, hey, go in here. Let's figure this out. And we need to settle this really soon, because otherwise this guy's gone.
Yeah. Well, man, maybe we'll just have one more quick question for you.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel about them just going to the wood and tearing it back down? Like, would you accept that as a team, or would you, as a fan, or would you be just frustrated and be like, that's it, I'm switching teams again?
Oh man, I don't think I could switch teams. I invested too much money in this team. Yeah, no, I don't want another teardown. If another teardown, like, man, it's gonna be another 10 years, maybe even more. I do not want it. Try to figure this out. Get rid of guys like Kyle Opozo. This guy is terrible. He's got, again, 1 assist on the year, and it was on an empty net goal. I don't know why he's in the lineup. You scratch Jeff Skinner, but you keep this guy in the lineup. You need to go out and get some toughness as well. Throw the body around, because these teams are taking advantage of you. They're hitting Eichel, they're hitting Reinhart, they're hitting your top line guys, and nobody is stepping up. We had Dylan Cousins, the rookie, fight, I think it was Ryan Lindgren of the Rangers a couple nights ago, a rookie who's 19 years old, and you have guys like Cody Eakin, Kyle Opozo, who are doing nothing. Go out there, find some toughness, bring back, I don't know, Colton Orr or something. Bring him out of retirement. You need to add some toughness, because these teams are taking advantage of these guys, and yeah, there's no point, there's no fight in them. I do not see any fight whatsoever, and you can see when stuff is going to collapse. These guys come in, they're throwing pucks at the net, they get the goal. I don't know if you guys saw the Matt Barzal goal.
It was an amazing goal, man.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, beat Ristolainen to the puck between the legs. Then they scored another 3 in the next 4 minutes. You can see it. I saw it was collapsing. Carter Hutton was all over the place. They had no idea. They're running around chickens like their heads cut off. It was just a disaster, and you could see this coming, and it's really hard to watch.
All right, Dave.
Dave, man, if you don't mind there, Wes, Dave, I just want to say your insight on the Buffalo Sabres is awesome. Your passion, I can feel it through the line. I appreciate it. I really hope that times do turn. I hope that just keep your head up, man. Better days have to be ahead because the pieces, there's so many good pieces. I hope there's not a teardown as well. I hope that they can figure out how to complement the players properly and give you a team to cheer for, because I'll cheer a little bit for you too, man. So thanks very much for being a guest on our show today, bud.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Well, I want to say thanks again to Dave for coming on. I definitely think we're going to call him the official first friend of the show, and I hope we get him on again. We really appreciate hearing another fan's perspective about their team, because it is easy to throw stones at a team like Buffalo, especially where the Leafs are right now. How do you think it went, Scott?
Buddy, I just say, you know what? Like that's an insightful fan right there. Keep your head up there, buddy. I mean, you've got the passion that fan base needs, and it's going to be some tough times coming up, man. Coming up, who the hell am I talking about? It's been tough, and I feel for them because, like you say, from Leaf Nation, we know how that feels. And right now, that's why I'm trying to enjoy this season.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that. And I hope one day, Dave, I hope that I get to take a drive out to watch a game with you in Buffalo, and see a game between the Toronto Maple Leafs and Buffalo, where Buffalo has also reached their potential, because there's a lot of potential there. I hope, man, that I hope for the fan base that you guys get to cheer for something, because I think we felt where they're at right now. Amen.
Oh yeah, man, it is a dark place. Like we've talked about that before, how the Leafs have been in dark spots, and Buffalo is there right now. And like, yeah, I'm not a Sabres fan, but they're such a passionate fan base. You want them to do well, and I want to see a good rivalry with the Leafs, because like they're right down the QEW, and it is such a good time to go to Buffalo and check out those games, man. It's a blast.
It is. I mean, I don't know. Like it's a lot of fun to see those teams play against each other when it's going well. But I hope you're okay with this. West Coast Tim, he's got a few thoughts that he wants to share with us. All right, there, Wes.
Yeah, man. Let's hear what he has to say.
All right, straight from West Coast. Here we go. That was a lot of hockey in the last 2 weeks, and includes the time change with traveling out west. You could see the energy in the last 2 games fade. However, despite all the games and dominating Edmonton, they didn't feel out of the van games. But we're missing the energy. There's a different element to this Leafs team. They never truly feel out of a game. What are your thoughts on that there, man?
The time change, I kind of don't really give them the benefit of the doubt with that. They were out there for a week, man. That's more than enough time to kind of get used to it. I get that it's a weird schedule, that they were kind of playing a game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, but still, man, you're pros. The Leafs get a pretty good schedule because they're the Leafs. They never play like 1 o'clock games and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't give them much for the time change.
If you really wanted to know my opinion on that, I agree. I mean, they're playing in the hockey games. There's some of the games started at their regular times, like as if it was here, because it was 7 o'clock here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon there. So, I mean, we could use the argument that would throw them off, So I could see how some people would say it could be an argument, but no, not on this one. Not when we've been there for a while. I think that the energy was gone. I'm with him on that. Like you could see it. You couldn't feel that buzz that's along the bench. Some of the games that wasn't there in the last 2 games. I don't think there's any denying that.
You know what those last 2 games felt like to me? And I didn't mention this before, but man, they felt like trap games. Like they were games that the Leafs were supposed to win, but they just didn't win for one reason or another. Like bad bounces, bad play. Like it seemed to me that those games, like every single mistake they made, it came back to amplify. And Vancouver got a goal, especially in the third period on Saturday night. Like they just felt like trap games to me. That's all.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and it is pretty amazing to see how the Leafs, and not just this year, as a Leaf fan for my whole life, It's amazing how the Leafs win the games that you don't expect them to win, and they lose the games that you expect them to win. It happens all the time with them, man. It really does. I would love to shake that, but I guess that's sports. I guess that is just sport, especially hockey.
Yep.
You know, it happens in baseball, happens in basketball. Doesn't really happen in football, but whatever.
Oh, it happens in football sometimes, but you're right. Like it just, yeah, and whatever. But let's move on to some other games coming up for the Leafs on Tuesday, March 9th and Thursday, March 11th. Winnipeg is coming into town. They've only played the Jets once this year, and the Leafs had won that game. Winnipeg is currently second in the division, man. What do you think about these games coming up?
I think the games are going to be tough. I think Winnipeg's always a tough opponent for Toronto. There's like a weird rivalry that it feels like is there. It brims under the surface, and it has for years. And I think that it's going to start getting amped up now because we got a lot of games coming up against them, don't we?
Yeah, they have 9 remaining the rest of the season. I think it's something like over 30% of the remaining schedule is against the Winnipeg Jets. So they're going to see a lot of each
Okay.
other.
So then don't kid yourself. This is actually a pretty big matchup because there's a lot of points still up for grabs for these two teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a tough 4 points up here, and I don't think either team's going to get 4 points. You know, I think 4 points would be. I would love to see the Leafs go in there and win too because we just lost 2 against Vancouver. But I think that we're going to see a much better hockey team. We're going to see hockey that we've watched for the most of the season. I think we'll see some passionate hockey again. That energy that Tim was saying was lacking, I think we'll see it back on the bench. But I also think Winnipeg will show up too. We'll be up for 2 good games.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope they are 2 good games. You know, Winnipeg got embarrassed against Montreal the other night, so I think they're going to come out flying. And with the Leafs coming off 2 losses, this first game is going to be interesting to see who comes out wanting it more.
It is, and that's really what it comes down to. Who wants it more? Let's just hope for some good hockey. Let's hope the penalty kills on point, man. And how about we just stay out of the penalty box like we did against Edmonton? That was the best way.
Yeah, that's the best way to kill penalties. Don't take them. Well, man, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. Thanks again for Dave for coming on. We really appreciate it. What?
Time out. You've got
thing?
one more thing. You've got hockey and day in history.
Right, I do. So, in '88, the St. Louis Blues acquired Brett Hull and forward Steve Bozak in a trade with the Calgary Flames for defenseman Rob Ramage and Rick Walmsley. So that's quite the trade, man. When you think you're getting rid of a player like Brett Hull, that I don't know if the Leafs could ever manage to pull off a trade like that.
Well, my video likes to cut out once in a while, but you could keep rolling here because I heard everything there. I don't know, man. Like to see that kind of a trade, I ask you, like it resulted in a cup, did it not?
It did. So this is the thing. You don't hear about this trade too much from a Calgary perspective because they won the cup the next year in '89, and apparently Ramage played a key role in that cup championship. So, man, it is not talked about at all that it was a bad trade for Calgary because they won. Is that the only reason it was a good trade?
Played a key role. So, I mean, as a Toronto Raptor fan, I'd ask a lot of Toronto Raptor fans, was it a good trade to trade DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard? We got a championship and then he left. I'm curious of the answers. I ask you to ask me in 3 years. Let's see how we are then. See how much I really no. I think that it is worth it, but then I also then follow up the question. If I asked you right now, if you think that we need one piece, if we could identify a piece that the Toronto Maple Leafs need to get over the top to win a Stanley Cup, would you trade a young stud player? I want to say Mitch Marner, but it feels like he's a little bit more into his career than what Brett Hull was. But let's go with that. Would you trade Mitch Marner for something? And that sounds so silly.
But if
that's a silly one.
I don't know, man. Like we're kind of thinking the same thing because like Brett Hull was clearly better than what William Nylander was. So we're talking about like a Marner Matthews trade here to win a cup. And would I do it to guarantee a cup? Absolutely, man. Like that's the whole thing. Like it is. We haven't had a cup in our lifetime, so for sure.
I don't know why I'm looking around like it's a hard choice. You're damn right I would. Why wouldn't you, right? Like I want to celebrate a Stanley Cup. That's what it's all about. That's what I've dreamt of as a Leaf fan. And when I watched the Chicago Cubs have their rally after the entire nation come together from all over the place to celebrate such futility in between championships, to see that kind of like celebration and jubilation. I want that. I want that. So if damn right I would make that move, but holy smokes, ballsy move.
Yeah, it is something. I think it just couldn't happen nowadays in hockey, but man, like I said, that's a trade we never hear about. Like when I think of Brett Hull, I think of St. Louis, right? And like he won cups in Detroit, but he hit his prime in St. Louis, and it's always like, oh yeah, he played in Calgary. Like it's just the back of the mind, like right, that did happen, but we never hear about because Calgary won.
Yeah, that we do. I mean, I guess if you had his rookie card, you might know it.
That's true.
And speaking of rookie cards, I'm going to say it real quick. Anybody that's got hockey cards, holy smokes! Talk about the next Bitcoin. Like they're exploding. Get them out, dust them off, go get them graded, check out what they're worth, get them posted online. Next episode, I'll go over a few cards that I've got if you want.
That sounds good, man. I think that'd be a neat segment to talk about some classic cards and some new cards that would probably be worth something too. But I think that's it this time. Is there anything else you want to get in today before we get going?
No, but I'm golden. I'm golden. Thanks a lot, buddy.
All right. Well, thanks again, Dave, for coming on. If you like what you see and what you hear, please like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at WesA1983 or at Feeney Baggins or at Blue Collar HT. We'd really appreciate it. And hey, like we always say, go Leafs go.